Hi, my name is Valentino Zubiri. I'm an arts and writer. Most of my examples and my discussion here would be about pension funds. I used to work in pension way back in the 1980s, so I'm going to be using that. And then, but this is for everyone. You might be a hedge fund, you might be everyone else. You might be a retail investor. This is for everybody, okay? There's no conflict here. Everyone's going to be using and getting up on the same thing, right? And getting to the much, much higher price points and prices and profitability together. And then I'm going to be explaining the wait group as well. Actually, it's a wait and see group. So what I'm suggesting here is, let's say I'm an artist, right? And I tell you my current price, but I also tell you my future price. And then I say, hey, you know what? As soon as I get to the future price, I let everyone know so that you, if you made the reservation previously, you can get my art at the previous price. So that way you can resell and trade at the current price, which will be much higher than the previous. So that's the idea behind all this thing. So I'll see you in a bit and I'll explain all this to you. Hi, it's me again. So let me show you what I'm talking about here. And I used to work in pension, so I'll tell you about that as well. So the idea is for us artists, and I call this the hashtag VALZUBIRIAGENDA, it's in 3 parts. And what I'm showing you here is part 2. So we'll go back to part 1 and then later on part 3. So part 1 is we make an announcement not only of our scarcity and not only of our present prices, but our future prices. And because art's not regulated, we can increase exponentially. So way back in the 1990s, I was working in pension. The guy who put me there, or helped me to get hired, was the elected official. He was a friend of a friend. And so after like 2.5 years of going to math school for like master's degree and doctorate level degree, math classes, math courses, I finally approached him and said, hey, I could use a job. And he said, yeah, and he connected me to my employer. And so every once in a while, I was 2 blocks away, I'd bring a box of chocolate, we'd eat it, and we'd talk about pension. And now he knew already at that point that I've had art shows. I was writing a column for a monthly free paper in Chicago. Eventually, I became editor as well, and I was also graphic and layout artist of the paper. So I learned how to make a newspaper. And eventually I learned how to make books. I'll show you this in a bit. And then I was in theater, and I've been on TV twice, radio once, a few newspaper and weekly and monthly articles on me. And he also knew that besides school and my school books on math, I was reading a lot of books because I wanted to establish myself as an artist as well, right? So I was reading self-improvement books, how to brand yourself, how to promote your brand, your product, yourself, get famous, leadership, persuasion, marketing, advertising, public relations, etc. Besides writing books, besides books on how to write. And so he was kind of like, Val, if you're really smart, then come up with a way to raise $10 billion for the fund. And 2 weeks later, I let him know my idea, and he was kind of like, oh my God, we need to work on this. Let's keep this secret. Anyone can do this. And so we were going back and forth about the thing, right? So here's my idea. I said, use me. I'm an artist. I'm in your jurisdiction. You know my projects. You've basically pretty much discovered me, right? And so get 200 works for me at the current reasonable price of $50,000. So your cost of acquisition would be $10 million. You're trying to raise $10 billion, right? But you're not getting my art because of my $50,000 current asking price. You're getting my art because of my announced exponentially increasing pricing, which would reach 204.8. And 200 works times 204.8 as a future valuation would give you a future valuation of $40 billion. And I said, bring that art contract, your art commission, to your financial institution, the one you've been working with for the last 100 years, and ask for a loan. And there's a chance they might lend you 25% of that valuation, which is what? What's 25% of $40 billion? It's $10 billion. And then I said, I just raised $10 billion for you. And the good thing about that is, if you're a pension fund, you've been working with, for example, companies that have like 300 employees, right? But in this case, you're only working with one single artist. So it's like one of those commercials from the 90s. You set it and then you forget it. It's coming, but it's not like you're going to be like dealing with so many people. You're only dealing with the artists, one or two, right? So we were going like, let's keep this secret. Let's discuss some more. One of our ideas was that this would trend if he and I convince 3 other pension funds to use me, right, the same way he's using me. It might sound a trend, everyone else would want to join in, and because I still need to make myself scarce, he and I can teach everyone else how to fish. So there's his, because he needed his votes, right, and I needed my recognition. That would be it. Now, unfortunately, my friend passed away, and he took the secret to his cave, right, and I decided I probably should continue to enhance it some more. So one of the tips in the self-improvement books that I had been reading that showed up many times over was to, if you want to advance in your field, you write a book about the field. And the best books we artists can come up with would be memoirs, biographies, art books, and art catalogs. So I decided, and they have to be books because books are forever. They cannot be brochures and pamphlets. So in my case, I wanted to write a memoir, and he knew that. And I decided when he passed away that I would write as many memoirs as I can before I even came out. And so in 2014, I released 4 books. And in 2018, I released 1 more book. And 2018 was this, #VALZUBIRIAGENDA, or VALZUBIRIAGENDA. I co-wrote it with a fellow artist, Zubiri Perez. And look at that. There's the exponentially increasing pricing. And that's exactly what I'm up to here. It's never changed. See? Now, way back in 2014, when I released my 4 books, my 4 memoirs, I decided to add in a 2-page insert that says, discusses all this, exponentially increasing our price because art's not regulated and coming up with memoirs. So, for example, look at this. So, let me show you my 2014 books. Okay, I'm just gonna show you right next to the numbers, right? There's one, Hocus Pocus Lately, When Our Mentors, and Wonder, and Dama and the Musical. Now, part of the tips that I was reading, one of the tips was also, if you find yourself some ideas that would be offshoots of your art, that would be good. So in this case, I make porcelain dolls, right? And so I'm proposing to make this is going to be on stage, Dama and Musical. I'm more of an artist doll maker. It's going to be on stage eventually. So that's another offshoot. Now, look at this. Let me take this out. Okay. See that? One of them has a marquee, this red thing, and the other one does not. Now, the other books I've shown you so far also has a marquee, right? So if you go online, you're gonna see the 2 versions of each book. Okay, so let me show you my internet presence, so you trust me hopefully some more, right? If you Google Valentino Zubiri dolls, you'll see my images of my art, and then you'll see websites that mention my name, my books, and my art. Now, if you Google Valentino Zubiri books, you'll see my books, and you'll see the knowledge panel. That's the one that says Valentino Zubiri author on the lower right of the screen. That's called the knowledge panel. I did not make that up. Google assigns that to people who've been around for a really long time, okay? And so, if you look at some of my books, I don't know where the 2 images of my 2 books are, but if you look at, okay, now look at Valentino's VALZUBIRIAGENDA, that book on the left. That's my latest design. And as usual, there's the exponentially increasing graph. But that's if you're gonna get that book from 2018, that's the latest design. I've been showing you the one with the. I've been showing you this. See, the book design number 1. Okay, because I gave away that book and I don't have a copy of that anymore. But let's go back to the books. I'm gonna ask you. Trying to change the screen. So let's use Hocus Pocus lately, the one with the marquee. So if you go to Google or if you go to Amazon, you're gonna see this book. Use your regular desktop browser, not your phone browser. That way you'll see that look inside link just above the image of the book. And the difference in the title would be that phrase, with secret and search for bankers. And if you click that look inside link, you'll get to this page, the 2-page insert that I've been telling you about. And that's page 1. You can freeze this frame and read it some more. And then here's page 2. Once again, you can freeze that frame. Then read it some more. And I'm basically telling you the same thing that I've been telling you right here. Art is not regulated. Let's go back to page 1. So art's not regulated, and you can increase exponentially. You can make an announcement of the numbers so that everyone can follow the same numbers. And that's to justify investability and tradability. And we need to justify collectability. And as a matter of fact, the book that you're holding is a memoir. And that's to justify collectability for collectors. Okay, so now let me show you something even funnier and more important. Once again, okay, type this in. Can billion-dollar artists save investors and world economy? Type that in. Type in my name, Valentino Zubiri. Type in the date, August 19, 2014. And then the word PRWeb, P-R-W-E-B. You're going to reach this website. I actually issued a press release to support this and to make sure that I stake a claim on this idea just in case somebody else comes up with it later. And I never really promoted it. I just wanted to stake a claim about this because I do have knowledge of press releases. I used to work in a newspaper, right? So I just take the claim, and as you can see, there's that exponentially increasing price points. And once again, I said, art's not regulated, we can increase exponentially. We announce our prices from here onwards so that you can make speculations and borrow money if you need to, based on future numbers, even though the art's going to cost you the current price. And then I said, to support all this, and especially for collectors, write memoirs. And as a matter of fact, I'm claiming to have the most memoirs for a visual artist. In 2014, I said I had 4. And obviously, right now I have 5 with 2018 VALZUBIRIAGENDA, which I co-wrote with Silvero Perez. And then I will have 5 more over the next 3 years. And then I'll continue to keep writing. So I'm the sleeping giant, if that's what you want to call me. If you want to say that I'm the Don Quixote of all these ideas and whatever, yeah, sure. So let's go back to myself. So you can say that I probably saw this coming, right? And wait, okay, so that's part 1 and 2. Okay, part 1 is for us to come up with our memoirs, biographies, art books, and our catalog. Why would we wait 100,000 years from now just so somebody else can write about us? When in fact we have our laptops, we have the next door coffee shop. We can just get all caffeinated and just start writing our memoirs, biographies, art books, and our catalogs. Now, here's something else. The part 2 is the exponentially increasing announced schedule of prices. See? So we can exponentially increase, or like here, you see. That's exponentially increasing, right? Now, I show you these other numbers because you might be a famous artist. You might want to start here. And then I'm showing you even higher numbers here because you might be using a cryptocurrency. So just to be visual about it, that's why I'm showing you this. Now, I want to make 375 NFTs per price point, right? And what I'm showing you here, what I'm proposing is for you to, make a reservation with me. And as soon as we reach the next price point, then I can tell you, hey, you know what, we've reached the next price point, why don't you pay me now? Using the previous price. So that way, you can strategize and maybe even resell the works, right? Now, if you get 7 from me, for example, wait 3 steps, your 7, you can get your money back by selling just 1. And then you'll have 6 left for the much higher prices. Now, if I'm officially asking for 100,000, then price yours at 97. Somebody's going to get that first, right? Now, here's part 3 of all this. If I'm making porcelain dolls and I'm proposing to make dioramas, I do have a skill. Let me fix it. Okay, so I do have a skill, right? And that's a given, right? And I want to make. Wait, trying to fix it. Okay, so that's her, right? So that's your prototype. It's sight unseen yet to be made art that I'm proposing here, right? You're gonna have to trust me. It takes me a while to get my art going, right? But immediately you can trade NFTs. So here's the part 3 of my proposal. We artists who make tangible art, you view our art or our NFTs as commission art, right? Commission contracts for a sight unseen yet to be made art. Once the art gets made, then your NFTs become your proof that you own the actual art piece. So it's your deed of ownership. Now, my proposal is I want to make dioramas because I want to add in gold, silver, platinum, palladium into my works, and either solos or combinations. And I want to add in diamonds and gemstones into my works, right? So I want to justify these lower, especially these lower prices, so that we can compete and be comparable with everyone else's art pieces, tangible art pieces. The only way I can do that is by becoming my own storage space, my own warehouse, my own vault. So even as you are trading my NFTs, even after the NFTs have become tangible art, you don't have to worry about shipping, reshipping, packaging, repackaging, about smudges, getting things broken, getting things dirtied up, etc. We maintain the new condition of the art pieces by myself becoming my own storage space, my own warehouse, my own vault, even as everyone, all of you, continue to trade my works. And I will upgrade wherever this slows down. I will upgrade everyone's NFTs and everyone's tangible art pieces by adding more the equal comparable amounts of the precious metals and the gemstones in the works. Okay, so just because you got in at much less at the higher, at the lower prices, it doesn't mean that you should be penalized by by myself coming out with like lesser quality or lesser valued art pieces. You're going to be as comparable and competitive as everyone else's. And I'm encouraging everyone else to do the same thing. If you make coffee mugs, you can make 10,000 coffee mugs, all different art pieces, right? They're ceramic, and you maintain the newness. Nothing gets broken, nothing gets smudged or scratched or whatever. By becoming your own storage space, your own warehouse, and your own vault, right? Same thing if you have like 10,000 NFTs, right? Of sculpture yet to be made, right? And if you make 10-foot tall statues with sculptures with that weigh maybe a ton, right, or even more, you maintain that. You can sell 10,000 NFTs just like everyone else, as long as people who trust you. Become your own storage space, your own warehouse, your own vaults, and that way everyone gets to trade your big statues, even though they don't have space for your statues. They own the NFTs, right? And they can continue to trade the NFTs. So in my case, once again, it's a good thing that I make porcelain dolls, and I wanna add on as much gold, silver, platinum, palladium, diamonds, and other gemstones into the works, so that we hopefully can justify the higher numbers. I actually see myself as the Fabergé of what I do, and so that's it. That's basically everything that I'm supposed to show you. Now let's go back to this thing. Once again, go back to Google. Type this in: can billion-dollar artists save investors and world economy. Type in my name, Valentino Zubiri. Type in August 19, 2014. It's been 8 years. See? Type in PRWeb, PRWEB. Head over to this website once again, or you can freeze the screen. What am I showing you here? You can text me, you can call me. There's my phone number right there, right smack. It's always been there. It's like I'm like the sleeping giant, you know. You can consider me the Don Quixote of this project, this idea. And once again, I call this the #VALZUBIRIAGENDA. And so, if you use me, you're actually using, you know, not only the pippin of this thing, right? The one who came and went, right? You're using the Don Quixote of this thing, right? I actually see myself as the possible, you know, the eye of the storm. If this trends all over the world and you're starting to use other artists, imagine this: the mere mention that an artist would write his memoir without even writing the first word, right? And the mere mention of a plan, an announcement of exponentially increasing prices, that would make you want to invest in that artist. What I'm showing you here is that I'm the one who did this homework early on, see, and made sure to write well, right, and make sure to be able to publish all these books. I know what to do now. It's not like way back in the 90s when I just had this idea, and my friend, the treasurer, who's passed on, he said this just might work, you know, even with just a single, you know, a discussion of all this. Now, what I'm suggesting to you is we can continue to meet, and if you need to talk to me, if your board needs to meet me or talk to me or whatever, I'm available. Make a reservation, do the wait and see thing, you know, like you can say, hey Val, you know, we're interested in a certain number of NFTs. Can you reserve this for us? And as soon as I get into the next price point, I'll let everyone know, I'll let you know. And you can get the NFTs at that price point, at the lower price point. And make sure your FOMO works, right? If you think this is going to work anyway, you know, just make sure that you get in touch with me now. And invest in me now, you know, like spend whatever you can, right? For example, if you're gonna order 200 works from me, for example, and you can afford one, yeah, by all means, yeah, just get one. And I'll hold on to the other 200. What's the big deal, right? But you would have to trust me, and I would have to trust you as well. It's a give and take thing. It's honor. We're doing the honor system here. So, but if you don't want to miss out at all, you know, make sure that if you can afford a certain amount, and that's all, and that's what you've been investing in others anyway, then you might as well invest in me. Once again, consider me the eye of the storm, together with you if you involve yourself with me. If this succeeds, even if we make a small budge with this plan, you know, with the higher prices, I'm very sure that other artists, other investors, and traders and art collectors would want to get together as well and start getting up on each other and you know, getting into the much higher prices. Now, before I go, look at this again. Let's say you're an investor, right? You're a retail investor, and you're in conflict with others because, you know, like you've been in like the meme stocks, and you're together with other retail investors, and your enemy is like the institutional investors, right? Look at that. Everyone's going to be working on the same thing. There's no conflict at all. And this is a good thing. And it's not like somebody's going to lose money because somebody else is going to make money. Everyone is going to be on the same thing. And that's why I also promise you that I will upgrade everyone's works. It doesn't matter if you're a retail investor or institutional investor. I will make sure that everyone's works will be comparable with each other by adding the same amount of gold, silver, platinum, palladium combinations or solos, and diamonds and gemstones, so that everyone gets the chance to be at the higher prices. Once again, I'm the sleeping giant. I am the Don Quixote of this thing. I'm the Pippin of this thing. I came and went, right? And I just might be the eye of the storm. And so use that as, you know, what's a big deal, right? Do I look nervous? No, because I know what I'm up to. I need to move to a warehouse right now, get the right equipment and supplies, and start working, and like I'm gonna have a warehouse, right? This is what I call the warehouse, and they're gonna be part of the warehouse, and everyone's people are the talents I'm gonna be using will be part of the warehouse. It's like the factory. It's like Andy Warhol's factory, but it's gonna be a warehouse with the right equipment, the right everything else. Here's something I want to show you before I go. Right? Look at this. That's incrementally increasing by 1, right? In 16 steps, you go from 1 to 16. But over here, it's an exponentially increasing by double. In 16 steps, you go from 1 to 32,768. If you have a kid who does art, for example, 5-year-old kid, it's your call, right? Start with this and start incrementing. Make an announcement of increasing prices, and how many art pieces are going to be like on a per price point basis, and look into incremental and exponential. Now, in my case, I need to go exponential, but this is for everybody, and hopefully it trends. We're almost to the end of this presentation, but I'd like to bring up a few things that I never did. Now, I call this the early bird special. And this is just to bring this few numbers up again. Right? If you got into the first price point, which is $12,500, and you reach $409,600,000, that's 32,768x. The reason I didn't bring it up is because after the 375, you're gonna start saying, hey, it's only 16,000x, and then you might go like, it's only 8,000x or 4,000x. And the idea here is that as soon as you get to the next price point, you can easily tell your financial statements, your investors, your company, and the public, and everyone else, that your investment just 2x'd, doubled. And that's the idea behind all this. But if you got into my NFTs at the early price, and you know that I started all this, and I just happened to stand there, really good chance to reach the goals, right, the higher numbers here, then congratulations. Now here's something else too. If you're a pension fund, right, I'm a human being. Do you think I'd last longer than you would? No. And this is why there's a possibility that we're going to reach the higher numbers as soon as I pass away. But at the same time, here's the idea that I'm supposed to stop at a certain price point. See, now if I strictly follow 375 times 16 steps here from here to 409.6, that's only 6,000 works. Now I have to get some space because there might be a bottleneck, a slowing down. If a whale, for example, if somebody gets 200 works and only promotes them at a slower pace, right? Individuals would promote this in a more exponential way, because everyone, individual, would be promoting to as many people as they can. So. But if you're one single institution, I don't expect you, just because you got 200 works from me, that you would work 200 times more than everyone else. So there's going to be a bottleneck, and this is why I reserve the right to extend this or adjust this as needed, like 375 again, because I don't want to create a slowing down. So I want to entertain as many as I can at the much fast pace, because that's the idea behind all this. You don't need for me to die. All I need to do is to make an announcement that I don't want to make any more as promised, because I want everyone's works to go up in value, right? So that's how we are going to get to this point. See? And at the same time, what got me here won't get me here, right? Which means I'm gonna have other things. It's not just the drama and the musical that's gonna be on stage, right? It's not just that that's gonna help to enhance collectability. It's not just the memoirs and biographies and artbooks and colors. They're just the things that I am just now announcing. I don't want to announce all the ideas that I have in my head. Now, here's the thing. If you're a pension fund, right, you're going to outlast me. And if you get successful in this, guess who else is going to do that? bigger institutions than you are. And who needs money too, right? Provinces, cities, cities. What else? Municipalities, states, countries. Just remember, El Salvador is now doing Bitcoin. And I'm an artist. I make tangible art. Who else is doing this? Companies and other institutions, even groups of people, are making NFTs for themselves into collectible NFTs. So do I stand a good chance? I would think so, because I'm still traditional tangible artist, a traditional artist who makes tangible art. And once again, I don't have to die. I just need to make sure that after a certain price, after reaching a certain amount of NFTs, then I stop making them. And once again, we are here to squeeze the time and to shorten the time and to make sure that we get to much higher prices as fast as we can. Okay, so here's your big question for yourself. Do you know anyone, not counting me, who has the same great idea as I just might have for you that you can use, right? If you don't, are you gonna wait for somebody else to come up to you and offer a certain idea, right, to you that you can work with? Because I obviously came up to you, right? If I sent you this message, right? How much do you need anyway, right? Is there anyone you can tell? Is there anyone you can talk to and confer with, and share ideas with, so that you can solve whatever you have, whatever you might be in the red or whatever, right? And find somebody who can help you out. If you're not gonna use me, use somebody else. And hopefully, well, ask yourself, how big of an idea would that be? So it's not like I'm the only person who's presenting anything substantial like all this, to you or to anyone else, right? But if you don't, then consider me as a possibility. And don't be late. So if you miss out on this, then so be it. I'll see you soon.